write down the value of their assets significantly, and that could in and of itself collapse the very financial system or setup that we've spent, over 20 billion cleaning up just a few years, right, ago. So it's really a question of being caught between the devil and the deep blue sea, and you have to make a decision. And in this instance, although the money or the government has issues with its debt, you have to be able to make some provision one way or the other to be able to help these financial institutions. Because remember that this is not a problem that they caused themselves. This is a problem that lies squarely at the foot of the government in that sense. And if you're not able to help them tide over, then you could end up with a very situation that we've seen in places like Greece and in Lebanon, where people are literally wanting to cash out of those investments, and the very financial system could end up collapsing. So
quickly,
some debt will have to be incurred in order to solve this problem in that first instance.
Right. I'll ask you to quickly tell us about how voluntary, in fact, it will be. But before that, using the Jamaican situation where we are supposed to learn lessons, you were talking about stress testing, making sure that everything you are putting out is good. And you seem to be hopeful about this path. Ken comes in again, and the question of trust. You mentioned e-levy. When he was seeking to introduce the e-levy, you guys said a lot about the fact that the approach was wrong. He told us that they had done the research, and there was this research that over 80 or 90%, showed that this was the path to go. We have just been told how abysmally e-levy has done, leading to the revision. So how can anybody trust that this is workable?
I think it is workable, and I think it's workable largely on account of the fact that it's also a precondition for accessing the IMF funding. I have faulted the government on, if you take the 4 factors that I listed as kind of what drove the success of the Jamaican program on operational design, burden sharing, communications, and IMF involvement, where I fault the government is on the communication strategy, that they haven't carried the people along and being able to explain it in a way and manner that allows people to understand that it's not really just the restructuring the debt, but it's going to be part of a bigger set of reforms, structural reforms, so-called.
Okay.
And that it's also
the government explains that this is an ongoing process, this is an emergency. And so the consultation is ongoing, and they will continue to do it. They have a deadline. They have a deadline to secure this. As we are told, the IMF team is already going away without giving us what you call, is it the staff level agreement or so?
Well, I don't know about that. I think yesterday there was an article on Reuters that said that a staff level agreement could come on Tuesday or thereabouts, but I don't know anything beyond that. But I think the important point really is to stress to mention here is that extra consultations would need to be had, and the government needs to be very much forthcoming in explaining the issues to Ghanaians, particularly on the aspect of the point that the institutional shareholders, right, the banks, your pensions, etc., who clearly would lose out, because the losing out is not just principal. If you work the numbers, there's going to be a net loss or a haircut, which is implicit, no two ways. But you need to be able to communicate that in a way and manner that addresses the issue of burden sharing and the perception that we're not just cutting down on our debt, but we're reforming the whole governance architecture or structure, including some of the things that we mentioned just a few moments ago.
Right. So about the